Arrival extraordinary. Have you heard of the arrival of good Santa Claus with his wonderful budgets and bundles and cases? He is here, and the best is he puts up at Macy's.
Load up the station wagon. The big, happy American hysteria family is going down to our favorite corporate department store to sit on an old man's lap. For this two-part Christmas special, I tell Sarah Marshall, host of the podcast You're Wrong About, all about the history of the American mall Santa Claus, starting back in the 1800s and continuing into the present day. For part one, I'll be painting a pretty wholesome picture of the eccentric men who over the years created the look and vibe of the department store Kris Kringle, mass producing a jolly army of Santa proxies to whom kids could disclose their heart's holiday desire. For part two, I will explain how the mall Santa became a symbol of societal change and guerrilla protest. From the lady Santas who had to take his place during World War II, to the Black Santa revolutionaries of the civil rights movement, to the activist gay Santas who fought quite creatively against the stigma of HIV. That's coming next week. Kids, no matter how terrifying the bearded old man is, dry your eyes and make sure you smile. This photo package ain't cheap. I'm your host, Chelsey Weber-Smith, and this is American Hysteria. Ho, 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 girls, boys, and everything in between. Mm-hmm. It is the Christmas season, which I care for very little, but I'm starting to get in the spirit more and more as I grow old. So to join me, you know her, you love her, Sarah Claus, Sarah Marshall.
I am Sarah Claus. You know her. You love her. You've tried to deglove her. I don't know. First thought, best thought. It's me. I think I'm moderately Christmassy and that I don't decorate my house or remember to get gifts for most people. But I like to watch some movies, and I like to watch other people do Christmas. I'm like, look at them go, but very low effort for me personally.
You did inspire Miranda and I to get a pink fake Christmas tree, though.
Oh, yeah, because I have one of those, and those are great.
They're great. It was perfect.
And you can leave them up till Easter.
Yeah.
Because it's Easter bunny colored.
And really, you could leave it up all year long.
You could, but I
feel like with your vibe.
A little redundant in like May, though.
That's true. So I don't want to think about Christmas in the spring.
But I've realized lately that Mimi Bobek ran so that Carrie Bradshaw could walk. And like, if you're debating on whether to get something, you should ask, would Mimi from the Drew Carey Show wear or decorate with this? And if the answer is yes, then you should get it.
I need to get you some kind of Drew Carey related gift this year. I'm going to really put that in my back pocket.
Listen, I've heard, I was just talking to some people in Hollywood. Ever heard of it?
Hollywood?
According to some insiders, Drew Carey is like a very good tipper. Like he'll tip like $200 for like a couple beers, allegedly.
I love that. Yeah. I'm going to believe it. I'm going to believe it for sure. Well, speaking of, just to get in the Christmas spirit, what is the Christmas movie that you always watch? Do you have one?
Yeah. I mean, I have a couple, but the one that's been the most consistent throughout my life is the George C. Scott version of A Christmas Carol, which my mom and I always watch, and specifically an edition that she taped off of Coin TV on Christmas Eve, 1989. And it's perfect. And it's got all these commercials for the IBM PS2. It has like little news bumpers about the ouster of Ceausescu, who at the time that this movie was being broadcast was hours away from a public execution.
Holy shit.
I know.
It's a historic document you've got there. Gosh.
And also Noriega. It was like a very eventful Christmas dictator-wise, I guess. And it's just like this beautiful sort of like tapestry of like Portland at Christmas in 1989. And also I love the movie. The music is lovely. I love The Christmas Carol. I love George C. Scott as Scrooge. He's so angry and he's like not even lightly attempting a British accent, you know? It's the only Appalachian Scrooge.
Yeah, and God bless him for that. That's a very nice choice. And what an artifact. You must protect it at all costs.
Well, one time we were rewinding it and the tape broke and I had to open up a VHS of Backdraft because that was what I had on hand and cut out some of the tape from the opening of Backdraft and splice it in to reinforce the Christmas Carol tape. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's got a little Backdraft DNA.
Dude, also funny that you mentioned that because when I was a kid and went to Universal Studios, which I got to take you to for your first time.
I missed the Backdraft ride.
You missed the Backdraft ride, but I had to be taken off the ride because I got too scared because I was probably like 5 to 7, somewhere in there.
Well, it was like fire, right? It was like a lot of fire right next to your face, right?
Yeah, just fire all around you. And I already had a fear of fire and it like jacked that fear way up through the roof. And I was very scared of my house burning down for a long time.
I love how Disneyland is like, what if you were in an out of control old-timey motor car being driven by a toad and it was definitely on rails? And Universal Studios is like, what if there was fire all around you?
But at the same time, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride is like, what if you were a kid who went to hell?
Yeah, that's true. That ride does go very hard. I do love it.
It does go hard.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for that Christmas spirit.
Wait, do you have a movie or a thing that you watch every year? Yeah.
I'm so glad you asked.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't. Okay. We always, when I was a kid, watched Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer claymation.
Mm-hmm. Which I've never seen, actually.
Well, we have a better version of it that my brother and I overdubbed like maybe, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And it's really, we think it's very funny. We did that thing that was popular on YouTube where you just watch something and try your best to do the voices. And you're always like 1 second behind and then you just move the audio back 1 second. So it's like this very frantic vibe.
I never actually could figure out how people were doing that at the time. That's cute. And there's a lot of giggling and stuff.
Yeah, it's cute. So we now watch that every year.
Can I just say, I think Ariana Grande in the new Wicked, which is nuts, by the way, looks a lot like that girl reindeer in Rudolph.
Oh, Clarice.
Right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's always tomorrow.
I think her nose has been highlighted into a little Clarice nose.
Yeah. You're right.
And if that's the goal, then I get it.
My stepdad growing up always made a lot of jokes about like, why is her voice so like sexy and breathy? She's such a like, hello, Rudolph.
Because that's what girl deer are like.
That's what they're like, young to old. And the other one that Miranda and I have made a tradition of is The Happiest Season, the lesbian Christmas movie created by Clea Duvall, which is an absolute schlock fest. I don't know what to call it. It's absolutely unhinged and terrible and amazing. And yeah, that has become our official Christmas movie because I feel like it's got to be a little ridiculous for me. It has to be strange and a bit unnerving.
It has to be over the top.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, for this episode, we are going to look at the history of the mall Santa, the department store Santa.
Thank God, dude, because I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, I'll try my best. And we are doing this in 2 parts. So stick around for part 2. But part 1 is really just going to be history.
So there's probably going to be cliffhangers.
There's going to be cliffhangers. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So what is your experience, Sarah, with the mall Santa? Did you go growing up? Was that skipped over in your family? What is your vibe around this guy?
So here's something I appreciate about my mom. I appreciate many things about her. And she won't be listening. I'm not trying to butter her up, by the way, because she only ever listens to my show because that's the only one that she's subscribed to. And she doesn't want to learn how to subscribe to other shows. So I can be honest.
I don't blame her.
And one of the things I really appreciate about her is like that she typically has not been overly into like doing something because it's the thing that you do.
Mm-hmm.
If she decides that we're not into it as a family, we just don't have to do it. And one of them is the mall Santa, which I think she like brought me to when I was like 3 or something is the normal age. And I did not like it. And I think I like refused to get on Santa's lap or like was there for a second and then cried. And she was like, nope, okay, we're not doing this, which I really appreciate because there are families where apparently it's the norm to like force your child to endure Santa, even if they're really upset. And I think that's weird.
Yep.
So I was not a Santa child. I've said on my own show and in my Santa episodes with Sarah Archer that I think there should at least be a model of Santa available who's like very small and soft spoken and doesn't like boom at you the whole time. I mean, I think that's kind of what elves are there for. But what if somebody who was implied to have more power could just be like a really soft spoken Santa? That would be nice.
That would be very nice. They say, I read some kind of like child psychologist takes on it. And you did say this, your episode was great, that with Sarah Archer, the Cold War Santa episode. So everybody, that's a great companion to this. Go listen to that. You talked about this a little bit in that episode, but the kind of experience of Santa being the stranger that you're supposed to go sit on their lap despite your maybe bad feelings about it.
And he's got a beard, for crying out loud, you know?
Yeah.
He looks like he's got a militia at this point in time.
And then the beard also does that thing where it obscures the facial cues so the kid can't really
That's a good point.
do the thing that a child needs to do, which is read the face of the person that they're interacting with in such an intimate way.
And he's wearing weird clothes and he's clearly insane.
Yeah, he's a real stranger's stranger, you know?
And also, crucially, to me, Santa was most exciting as someone who had recently been in your house, but who you didn't see, you know, because he's like the Holy Ghost, I think. He's too powerful to witness, you know, or it's like how Moses could only see God's tush, you know, the same way that as a child, you can only see the little butt end of the carrot that the reindeer ate, but did not finish so that you could see that he ate most of it. I was a really big believer in that. We always did the thing where like Santa has been in your house and eaten stuff.
We loved that as kids. We love that. Yeah. It's kind of like the show, the frogging show about the people that live in your house and you don't actually know it. Same vibe, really.
It is like that, but they leave you presents in this case. Well, but what about you? Because you were more of, I think of you as being more of a risk taker. Did you brave Santa?
Yeah, I didn't have strong feelings one way or the other. We definitely did it for quite a few years. My brother was born when I was 8. Riley was born when I was 8. And we still went for a while, like a few years. And then we just were kind of like, actually, none of us really want to do this. Like, why are we doing this? And then every year we took photos by putting a Santa hat on my grandpa and we sat on his lap. So we have all of these beautiful pictures with my beloved grandpa through the years. And that's a very precious and like better thing than having the stranger Santa that costs like $60.
Yeah. And what if in every family there's a designated Santa? Because, right, it's weird to like light up and spend so much effort to try and get photos of your kids with like some guy, you know?
Yeah, he's just some guy. Yeah.
He's just some guy. You're more Santa than he is. You're buying this stuff.
That's true. That's true. And then the other mall Santa experience I have to share is that as a kid, well, as like I don't know when he moved in, maybe when I was a tween, he moved in, but we lived across the street from a guy who was a mall Santa and his name was Gene. And he was like a really authentic one, big white beard, the whole thing. And he taught me how to parallel park.
Did he have a white beard that was like his actual beard?
Yeah.
Did he have it while he was teaching you to parallel park?
Yeah.
Thank God. Okay.
Yeah. And you know what? I am fucking amazing at parallel parking.
I've seen this. You are really great at it. You know this. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So thank you, Santa.
Well, but also, did you ever for a moment think, what if he's really Santa?
No, because I didn't meet him until that ship had sailed.
I would still think that to this day. I guess thought that just now, you know, because what if that was his gift to you, was teaching you to parallel park?
It's lasted a lifetime. It's a priceless gift.
Well, there you go. And isn't that the real Santa, is the guy that we met along the way? Well, anyway, so I find mall Santas fascinating, and I have to wonder about how things are going for them now that the mall itself is having kind of a bit of a time.
Sure.
And I'm just really excited.
Okay. Hell yeah. Well, as we often do, we're just going to go chronologically and we're going to follow this phenomenon through the decades. And yeah, we are going to start with, as you might imagine, it's kind of like, who was the first department store Santa? Who was the first Santa of this genre?
Because I guess, it started as the department store and then moved to like mall Santa generally, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. And so, as far as I can tell, right? Because we're not defining Santa as a character necessarily. We'll get into that a little bit, but we're really just following the like modern mall Santa who kind of specifically exists to lure children into this like pacified consumer capitalism.
And to be clear, it's like you sit on Santa's lap, right? He's like, hello, what would you like, little boy or girl? And you say, I like this. And he's like, have you been good? And you're like, yeah. And he's like, are you sure? And you're like, pretty sure. And then he's like, okay, bye-bye. And that's basically the interaction.
Yeah. And he's like, well, obey your parents. And yeah, I mean, that's really it. And you snap a little photo and I think that's pretty much the whole thing.
And then you're like, what just happened to me? Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally don't partake in anything where you wait a really long time to awkwardly meet someone. It's never worked out for me. You know?
No, because it's like if you go to a book signing, it's kind of like you get that awkward moment of the book signing, which is never what you think.
I have made so many book signings awkward for so many authors back when I was in college, you know, but that's kind of what your role in society is at that age.
It is. It is. It's to be both overeager and painfully shy at the same time.
I know. It's so cute.
More after this. And now back to the show.
Okay, so that's the interaction, and I would love to know also like how that was different at the start. But yeah, where do you find the origin of this?
Okay, so as far as I can tell, it seems like the proto-Santa, this like Pied Piper of capitalism, existed in Philadelphia in 1941. He came into being.
That's later than I would have thought.
Right. I know. And of course, we had Santa, but it like things were nebulous at this point of like, what does Santa look like? What does he do? We're figuring it out as we go. And so at this delicatessen run by this merchant named J.W. Parkinson is where Santa became a character that kids could physically visit in the flesh, not just something they heard stories about.
In a deli. Deli Santa.
Deli Santa.
Huh.
So just a little bit of history about our Parkinson family, because they were kind of prominent. Prior to the creation of the delicatessen where Santa appeared, that we'll get into, the parents of J.W. Parkinson were these like confectionery celebrities.
All right.
They were especially known for their ice cream that was so beloved that it made Philadelphia at that time known as the Ice Cream City.
Incredible.
Which I didn't know. I know.
And now they're the Water Ice City. So I don't know what that means for them.
Is that true?
Yeah. Well, you know, you don't get water ice anywhere else. You want to know what the deal with water? Okay. So water ice, again, I'm an outsider, so I'm doing my best here. But basically ice cream, like back in the day when ice cream was first taking off, like when you're talking about, you would call things ices, right? So an ice cream was a kind of ice, and then a water ice is a water-based ice.
Okay.
So it's like,
ice.
So I think it's kind of, it's like a, you know, it's like a sorbet or a granita kind of a thing, but it's like, you know, Italian ices.
Well, you know, I guess they're consistent in what they're known for in a way.
But it's like based on this kind of like over 100-year-old version of like the word ice, which has lost all significance.
Interesting.
Which is great to have it preserved. So, or, you know, water ice, inevitably.
Water ice. So in 1824, they actually introduced their own version of vanilla ice cream, which I learned was created by an enslaved man originally. But I decided we're not going to go into that today. We'll get into that another day. But they introduced their own special vanilla ice cream recipe during a banquet for the Marquis de Lafayette, which was very illustrious and became super fucking popular. And they amassed an ice cream fortune, as one does.
I want to read a book about this, the ice cream fortune.
I know.
Yeah.
Ice cream could be a fun episode for either of us to do.
I will say for the like sort of trad wife content where they're like, live as your ancestors lived, churn your own butter. And it's like, well, a lot of our ancestors, you know, if you're like a white trad wife lady, maybe they had an enslaved person churn their butter. You ever think about that?
You ever think about that?
Maybe we shouldn't always live as our ancestors lived.
No, I think that's true.
You know, butter's always good. Anyway, they've got an ice cream fortune.
Yes, they have an ice cream fortune. And this was the parents of the man who would create the Santa that we're talking about today.
Oh, their money is in ice cream and Santa.
Yep.
Pittsburgh Santa tycoon, Kaladin Hockley. Okay, I'm done.
So at the same time that they're, you know, becoming ice cream celebrities, the idea of Christmas shopping is becoming popular.
Of course.
And people were buying candies, confections, and just like little gifts for kids. Like we hadn't bloomed into this hyper capitalist, you know, season quite yet. But it was starting to get there where people were attaching the Christmas season to the possibility of selling a bunch of shit.
It's crazy that there was ever a time when Christmas didn't mean shopping like there was no tomorrow. You know,
I know.
That feels so ingrained in our culture.
Yeah, it sure does. So the delicatessen that we talked about was situated inside of this like lavish mansion with this rose garden, and it had this beautiful outdoor dining area in the garden, and it was called Parkinson's Salon, and it was paid for by this rich benefactor to J.W. Parkinson, the son of the ice cream tycoons, and it was like held in really high regard as one of the finest restaurants, kind of on par with Paris and Vienna.
Wow.
And so it was like a nice spot. The delicatessen was more casual, as you might imagine, but they were all kind of in the same building. So J.W. Parkinson has this idea where he's like, how am I going to attract kids and their parents to this store, knowing that this is kind of a new fashionable thing to do, buy your kids Christmas stuff. Okay. So he decides that he's going to basically dress up, and I'm not 100% sure it was him, but I'm pretty sure he himself dressed up versus hiring someone. He might have hired someone, but regardless.
I mean, that would be the cheaper thing to do, you know, so it makes sense.
Yeah. But regardless, he created like the living in the flesh Kris Kringle, as he called him at the time.
Great.
And this was basically just a really early American marketing stunt.
As so much of our culture is ultimately.
Yeah. I mean, I almost feel like America is just a marketing stunt for England originally.
Yeah.
So the New Philadelphia North American newspaper wrote about this phenomenon of the living Santa in 1841.
The living Santa.
Living Santa. It said, quote, Kris Kringle, or Santa Claus. Much as our young readers have heard and imagined of this worthy character as the bountiful patron of good children on Christmas Eve, they probably never expected to behold the real personage in the very act of descending a chimney, as our friend Parkinson, a confectioner and restaurateur, has shown him over his well-thronged shop door in Chestnut Street. He was decidedly the attraction yesterday and last evening, and monopolized more than his share of attention of the young folks, which is usually bestowed with undivided admiration on the bonbons in the window. So he is climbing up the chimney and down the chimney.
Great.
So there's a little risk here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not just greeting, right? It's not like come sit on my lap. It's like a feat of strength and agility.
He's doing action Santa.
Yeah. Action Santa. So we don't like exactly know what the Parkinson Santa Claus looked like. We can kind of surmise based on the popular conception of Santa Claus. For example, we know that in 1822, like 20 years before, that Clement Clark Moore wrote his famous Christmas poem, Sarah.
What is it, A Visit from St. Nick?
Yeah, 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, whatever you want to call it. And in that, Santa's described as a jolly old elf, and he's got a broad face with a little round belly.
Yep.
And that kind of changed his vibe a lot because he previously looked to me like the wizard in Where's Waldo, kind of, just like the Saint Nicholas.
Wait, I forgot there was a wizard in Where's Waldo, but more of an ascetic, kind of a saint type. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, he was definitely an old school saint.
Right, because he starts off as a saint and then he becomes a guy who runs a toy factory for all the little children of the world, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I think we get into the history on our War on Christmas episode we did a gazillion years ago. You guys got into a little bit of that history on the Cold War Santa episode as well. So I am going to ask you to take a look at this picture on page 2 of the document and describe what you see, because this is one of the very most popular pictures of what Santa looked like around the 1840s.
Well, it's just great. It's Santa looking very much like Danny DeVito and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, like that kind of expression, like he's saying, "I'm the trash man, Charlie." Right? That's
or the troll, troll.
And he's got a basket of toys strapped to his back, and he's smoking a little pipe, and he's dancing a little jig on top of a table and putting some ornaments on a scraggly little tree. And the lettering behind him says Kris Kringle's Xmas tree. And he just looks a bit off his rocker, but having a great time.
Yeah.
And also standing at an angle that makes him look like he's about to topple backwards, I have to point out. You worry for the safety of this little Santa.
I feel like we forget how often Santa was seen smoking in the past.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of pipe smoking.
And around all the toys, many of which were flammable depending on the time period.
Yeah. And we got into that on spontaneous human combustion. We could have had a few tragedies on our hands.
Exactly. Too many flammable kids' clothes.
Yeah. Yeah. So whatever J.W. Parkinson looked like when he created his, version of Santa, Kris Kringle, the store came to be known as Kris Kringle's headquarters.
Incredible.
And thousands and thousands of kids started showing up to watch him yearly climb that chimney.
Which makes sense that they tapped into something deeper, right? Because it's like, as a kid, it's very important to be able to have an audience with Santa, however briefly, because as illustrated in A Christmas Story, your parents may not understand the importance of a certain toy, but maybe you can get Santa to stand, by you.
Yes. And he's an expert, so he's going to have more sympathy.
Right. And he makes the things, it's no skin off his rear.
Yeah, exactly. Which is always such an interesting thing to picture when you're like, I want an iPad. And you're like, oh my God, is he mining for...
What kind of conditions are these elves working under? Yeah. At what point did Santa move his headquarters to, a place with much more lax labor laws?
Yeah. Well, we know he's done that a long time ago. So... This is just a fun fact that has nothing to do with this not super interesting story I've just told you. But I thought you would personally like this because you like menus and recipes and that kind of shit.
I do. Wow.
So in 1851, our J.W. Parkinson, our Santa Claus, was challenged by some famous New York restaurateurs, the Delmonico brothers, to basically, you've heard of them?
Yeah, Delmonico's was, I think, a famous fancy restaurant at the time. And there's certain foods that claim to have been invented there, I think.
Yeah, I figured you'd know something about it.
Oh, yeah, I'm a real Delmonico's head. I feel like this was brought up in the Samantha American Girl books, possibly. Or Titanic or, something like that.
Probably, yeah. I know a lot of your history comes from those American Girl doll history books. So they challenged Parkinson to a dinner off, a cook-off.
Dinner off? I thought you were going to say Santa off. This is just as good, though.
No, this is more for you personally.
Imagine those Santas popping and locking and getting served.
So Parkinson called his version the $1,000 dinner.
Oh.
And this dinner off is specifically his version.
What is he, a YouTuber?
But he called his version the $1,000 dinner, and then that dinner became the template for this whole upcoming era of grand banquets in the 19th century.
Okay, nice.
And I wanted to tell you the menu.
Yes.
That he served that night. I thought you'd like that.
I'm dying to hear the menu of the $1,000 dinner.
The menu included early 18th century wines.
Wow.
Truffled poultry braised in champagne.
Imagine drinking wine older than the country.
I know. Isn't that cool?
Mm-hmm.
And then a rare Tokay, which I believe is a wine,
Right.
Another wine from Vienna's imperial wine cellar, which he used to create a frozen sorbet. So he kind of created the original wine sorbet that got really popular like a few years ago.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
This really is a tale of ice cream, isn't it? Just all the way down.
I know, weirdly. I know.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, Santa, you would think he wouldn't be in a story about ice cream because he lives on the North Pole. He's probably more of a cocoa man, but you just never know.
You never know. Or he just like dumps sugar into the snow and eats it. That's how ice cream's made.
He does his maple tapping and he pours his maple syrup on the snow like, Laura Ingalls Wilder or whatever.
That would be really good.
You know what I feel very vindicated by, as just a little side note, is when I was a kid, I was like, why didn't they just stay in the big woods? I feel like things were going fine for them. And then they keep having to move and, there's like the long winter and everything just like sucks for long periods of time. And then like, according to history, like, Pa was actually a big idiot, and I was right. I just feel great about that.
You saw it, clearly.
Suck it, Pa Ingalls.
Yeah, you saw it. Pa Ingalls. He could have been a Santa, maybe.
In what way?
I don't know. What did he look like? I don't know. I don't know that book very well.
I don't know. I think that I just remember there being the story where he got trapped in a blizzard, and he had to eat the girl's penny candy to make it home. And I was just like, I don't know. I think Pa really should have sacrificed his life so his daughters could have candy.
That would have been a real dad. Would Santa have done that? Maybe.
Well, Santa would merely die for our sins and then, appear again. After being packed in spices.
Santa does kind of die for our sins in a way. Our sins are forgiven through his love if you're rich.
Right.
Because if you have money for presents.
Well, because there's this weird thing where like Christmas is like, because like Jesus is born at Christmas and then Santa is like the sort of folk character of Christmas. And frequently like in yard art, you have like Santa near or interacting with a nativity implicitly. And then fast forward like 16 weeks and then it's Easter and the same baby we welcomed at Christmas is now dying for our sins and there's a bunny. Like it's really intense.
It's wild. It's pretty wild.
You'd think Jesus would have more time to grow up throughout the calendar year, but he's really just like in and out very quickly.
It's surprising that we never get like a nativity scene or some sort of version where they dress Jesus up like Santa Claus.
Yeah. I bet some people out there do it. Someone who is listening is like, my dad has been doing that since 1993.
And you got to have him hanging on the cross, though. You got to have it. It's got to be gory.
The crucified Santa. Wow. It's getting real.
Yeah. You want to have that crown of thorns just peeking out from under the hat.
Although, unlike Jesus, Santa is famously married, which I think is interesting. And I feel like this is a whole other question, but maybe for next year.
We are going to get into that a little bit.
Oh, we are? Okay.
A little bit.
I'm very curious about, like, when does Santa become a married man? What's that all about?
We'll hear about that, I think, in part 2, but it might be at the end of this one. We'll see.
Right.
We'll see.
You're like, well, Sarah, that was on a reality show called Santa Bachelor that was broadcast on the radio in 1895.
That would be really fun. So, okay. Now we're going to move up about 20 years, all right? And of course, who do you think claims they invented the mall Santa? Do you have a guess?
Wow. somebody named Macy or Bloomingdale. Are those people?
Ooh, you got it on the first guess. It is Macy's.
Yes.
Yes.
Woo-hoo.
And Macy's likes to claim a lot of shit. They like to claim that they invented the Thanksgiving parade, which they did not really. It's complicated.
Really? But they put their name and apostrophe S in front of the most famous one. So that all worked out for them, I guess.
Yep, they did that.
What if you put your name in front of something that already exists? What if you're like, this is Chelsey's ice sculpture, Chelsey Weber Smith's ice sculpture. I did invent this. It existed for hundreds of years, but I invented it.
I do like ice sculptures, so I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, they're really cool.
I don't spend a lot of time with them, but, you know, the once every 15 years I see one, it's always exciting.
Yeah, because you don't often get to go to like gala openings in action movies or Gossip Girl or anything. But
it's
you know,
true.
we could change that. Okay, so I mean, I feel like the great American innovation is just to steal other people's ideas. So I guess they're doing a bit of that.
Yeah. So this is what they cite as their proof that they are the ones that invented the mall Santa. And I'd like to take a look with you and see if we do believe this to be a good source of proof. Okay. Would you like to read this 1861 advertisement from the New York Times that announced that Santa Claus would be involved in Macy's in some capacity?
God, heck yes, I would.
All right.
Okay. And it's signed R.H. Macy, which I have to point out is almost William H. Macy. It's William H. Macy.
Yeah. William.
Arrival. Extraordinary. Have you heard of the arrival of good Santa Claus with his wonderful budgets and bundles and cases, who some people thought had gone off to the wars? Oh, he is here. And the best is he puts up at Macy's. He arrived in the night, all alone, by himself, and straight down the chimney he came without warning, and filled up each counter and packed every shelf with rare Christmas gifts before it was morning. The pack on his back he soon emptied of toys, the richest and finest, you'll see them at Macy's. He brought dolls for the misses and whips for the boys. Okay. And he laughed as he thought of their bright little faces. He had gifts for the ladies and gentlemen, too, perfumes for the toilet, and boxes and baskets, and rich fancy articles, as tempting and new as Aladdin e'er drew from his magical caskets. Such dainty embroidery for home wear or dress, such neat-fitting gloves, and such ribbons and laces, the merry saint brought, and it must be confessed, he showed his good sense when he left them at Macy's. Oh, that's very good. R.H. Macy, numbers 204 and 206 6th Avenue, 2 doors below 14th Street.
I have to point out that Laces and Macy's is stretching the rhyme.
It is.
It's a slant rhyme, which I love.
Yeah, Emily Dickinson loved those. Maybe she wrote this.
You never know. More after this. And now, back to the show. So, for me, looking at this story, nowhere does it say to me that Santa will be physically present at the time that children arrive to the store.
Oh, very good point. No, it's just a cute poem ad. Yeah, that's like Santa brought us all this stuff to sell to you.
Yeah, there's nothing in here. This is terrible evidence.
That's a great point.
I don't know. Riley, our associate producer, and I have turned into kind of like Macy's truthers because we think they make a lot of claims about inventing the first thing, and we like to debunk their bullshit. Just like they claim to invent the parade.
Good. Someone has to stand up to Macy's.
Yeah, and it'll be me. Remember the Bon Marché?
I remember the existence of that store. I think I always found it too scarily fancy to go in.
I remember the commercials, you know, when they used one day only at the Bon Marché. You remember this?
No, I don't think so. I wonder if maybe this was not a Portland thing. I don't know, but that's beautiful.
Maybe it's not. It could be a Seattle thing, but I remember when Macy's bought it, I was kind of like pissed off.
Yeah.
Because I was like, we'll never get those commercials again, which were an insane choice of commercial to make.
This is a good time for me to tell you that taped Christmas Carol that I have has an amazing Christmas TJ Maxx ad in it.
Whoa.
Fa la 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 TJ Maxx.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very good.
I don't think I knew TJ Maxx existed in the 80s.
No, me either, except from that ad, which makes it look incredible.
Maybe it was brand new.
Yeah.
God, jingles is something we should think about covering at some point. I feel like that could be really fun.
Okay, so Macy's lies. Macy's feels that if they confidently say they invented something, no one will be a killjoy enough to bother them about it too much, which unfortunately I think is very true most of the time.
Yeah, but they underestimated a scrappy little podcaster in Seattle.
And this mouse will roar.
I do kind of see myself as like the kitten, but in the mirror, I'm the lion. So
yeah, I think so.
All right. So instead of looking at Macy's, who are liars, we can go back and look at this other man who was the owner of Edgar's Dry Goods department store in Brockton, Massachusetts.
Oh my God. I love it.
I know. So his name was James Edgar, and he was known as Colonel Jim to all who loved him because he was a beloved figure. And I think that we can confidently love Colonel Jim because he paid his employees really good wages, he gave them shares in the business, and he closed early 4 nights a week because he wanted his employees to spend more time with their families.
Good. All right. I have good feelings about Colonel Jim.
Take note, CEOs. And Colonel Jim seemed just hella fun. He was kind of like this big old ham who loved performing for the people at his store. So before he went on to, as we can imagine, dress as Santa, he dressed as another thing during Christmas that is a little creepy. What do we think he dressed as? Sarah, something creepy a guy would dress as and walk around the store.
Not Krampus.
No.
Okay.
Not really related to Christmas. Don't know why this was what he went with.
A creepy guy. Is this like someone people dress as today?
Yes, but it's very generic. It's a generic character.
A vampire?
No, great guess. That would be so insane. I love that. But a clown.
A clown?
A clown.
No.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. What did this involve?
I mean, unfortunately, most of the information around this niche subject is lost to time since it happened in the 1860s. So all I know is he dressed as a clown and he'd kind of like amble around the aisles of the store after school, let out, which sounds creepy, but it was not. And one of the things he also loved to do was theatrically pick a random little girl that came into the store that day and give her a brand new doll, which I think is pretty sweet. But then I guess other kids would be sad, but
whatever.
You know, you got to come back. You might win next time.
Well, exactly. And I think dolls are a very important part of Christmas.
You do? You were a doll girl, weren't you?
Yeah, I was a big doll girl.
Love dollies. Yeah. I had one doll. I had that doll where you feed it the peas.
I had a doll that you fed cherries, which I loved.
Maybe it's cherries. Yeah. I'm thinking it was cherries, but it was like the little, it was the 90s.
And it had like this nice like fake cherry smell, and it would like click back from the spoon when you put it in her mouth.
Yes.
I had that doll. That was the best doll.
Yep.
Yeah.
I bet you so many people listening are going to remember that doll.
I could have fed that doll all day long.
It was all over for me once I got my creepy crawlers, though. I was like, oh, I'm a boy.
Yeah. Were those the kind of like gelatin bugs that you would like smack onto windows and stuff?
Well, yeah, what you did is you had like, it was like the easy bake oven for boys. You have like a metal tray that had like a spider shape and like a lizard shape and another bug shape, whatever. You poured a bunch of different colored goo in it. So you got to kind of like make it whatever colors you wanted. You baked it in the oven.
But it would become kind of like a big like Jell-O jiggler in a way, but that like non-edible.
Kind of.
I feel like I had a friend whose brother had those, but they got all hairy and that really bothered me.
You're thinking of this like sticky hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, not that. This was like you bake them in the oven and they became like little toys. Like they were almost like fishing lures is what I would say they're most like.
Mm-hmm.
But then the thing was that you bake them in the tray and the tray, you'd have to pull the tray out like easy bake oven and you just get burns all over your hands from it. But it was worth it.
They're like, that's right, kids. You just learned something today. Don't touch hot metal. You're welcome.
Yeah, I mean, I learned not to touch hot metal and I don't know who else would have taught me that lesson if not creepy crawlers. So
such a good point.
Thank you, creepy crawlers.
Lower stakes than elsewhere too.
Yeah. And I tried to get one recently for my godchild and they do not make them anymore. No. So I was like, they had to have updated this. So anyway, back to Santa. So yeah, in 1890, he, as a man who was a total Christmas freak, he loved Christmas. He finally got a tailor-made Santa suit.
Finally.
In that new jolly kind of style, right? Because we're getting into this jollier Santa.
Less of an elf, more of just a big happy guy.
Yeah. And he is basing it on the 1863 cartoon by Thomas Nast. Mm-hmm. Do you remember that picture at all?
Is that the one where it's like Santa performing his various duties and he's making the doll clothes and putting his feet up by the fire? Or is this probably something else?
It's actually different. It's like the back of Santa. And what's so interesting about Santa is part of his creation in popular culture was in these like political cartoons, like by this particular one by Thomas Nast. And he was dressed in Union garb and he was performing for soldiers and he's dangling a marionette puppet that looks like a Confederate general. And then later he'd be painted wearing like a Union backpack. Okay. So it was like he was kind of part of Union propaganda, which is so random.
Yeah.
But anyway, regardless, the Santa image was like we talked about in that other photo. He's becoming just like a rotund man with the big white beard.
And like a fully grown man as opposed to like a little elf, which I feel like is what he's been previously.
He's growing up. Yeah. So this was kind of cute. I found this quote from this old man who was recalling the moment he saw Colonel Jim's version of Santa Claus in the store. He said, quote, "My parents had taken me over to the Boston store on Main Street. I remember walking down an aisle, and all of a sudden, right in front of me, I saw Santa Claus. I couldn't believe my eyes. And then Santa came up and started talking to me. It was a dream come true."
Incredible.
Very cute. Yeah. It's so funny doing this episode because it's just like a happy story. Just a little simple happy story. And I'm always like, ooh, I'm going to dig up the dirt on this motherfucker, Santa Claus. I'm going to find all the horrors committed by mall Santas. But, you know, and we'll get into some kind of crazier shit that happens later on. But this episode, it feels so quaint for the things that we usually do together.
It's also nice to think that Santa used to be a treat more than like the way I think some of us who've been raised to view him, where it's like you have to get your picture with Santa as part of your like happy family routine. And as always, I will say that if the thing you're doing to perform happiness doesn't make you happy, then you should not do it.
Wow. Put that on a bumper sticker. It's very true.
Yeah.
We need to learn that, especially here in America.
Yeah.
So then, just like Parkinson's store, thousands of kids started traveling to Edgar's store from all over Massachusetts and as far away as New York City. They just all get on the train with their families and go and visit Santa, who was only really at this one store.
You got to go see Santa.
Yeah. And so at this point, you know, kids were visiting him. They weren't necessarily sitting on his lap. It wasn't the performance. You're not like telling him what you want. He's not asking if you're good. He's just going and he's in person and he's there.
Yeah, the concept of an individual audience with Santa is nuts when you think about it. Like, what idiot thought of that idea? You know, it's so much better to just have Santa like be like the Pope and just come out and do a little wave, you know?
Yeah. Or like a character at Disneyland where you can like run up and get a signature on your little book and give him a hug.
If you play Mickey Mouse, you don't have to like individually talk to every child in a giant line of children all day long. You get to walk around a little bit. I don't know. It probably is pretty grueling though.
Oh, I'm sure it's grueling. But you don't have to like react to the desires of their hearts and ask them like weird shit like, have you been a good boy or
have
girl
them sit on you. I think I pointed this out in my Cold War Santa episode, but I think crucially, the character actors at Disney parks playing Mickey and Minnie, not very big people, because you don't want a huge Mickey coming at you.
That's true. That's true. And yeah, that's what you said about Santa. You want a smaller guy.
Keep those Santas small.
Make Santa small. Okay. So from Colonel Jim's Santa sprung forth dozens of these jolly greeters.
Because we're at the right time for this to travel around the country via the newspaper, I would imagine. Yes. And they can be like, hey, I'm going to do that.
Yep, exactly. And word just got out that this was a fantastic marketing stunt to get people to come to your store during a time when you are trying to maximize your profits. Mm-hmm. And suddenly those little fuckers were everywhere. But because this was like a brand new thing, the Santas kind of had no rules, right? Every Santa took liberties. Every Santa looked different. Is there a reason that you can think of that this might be a problem if all the Santas look really different from each other?
Well, yeah, because then you kind of lose the illusion that they're... Because I feel like different people have different versions, but, you know, it looks like Santa keeps becoming a different guy. Mm-hmm. And also you kind of lose the sense of, because I feel like the sense a lot of people have of Santas in the mall is that they're like, that there's kind of like a transubstantiation taking place, you know, that like they are the embodiment of the Santa. But there's some kind of like supernatural like host body thing going on there, maybe. I don't know what other people grew up thinking about mall Santas.
What I'm now picturing is like the transmutation of Santa Claus into the chocolate chip cookie, and then you eat the cookie.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah.
That's cute. Right?
And the milk.
That's something. And the milk is the wine.
This is my blood.
Although he eats that, so it doesn't really make sense. I don't know. We're workshopping.
Well, but just the sort of like holy like mysteries of Santa Claus. But if it's just clearly like 10 different guys, you're like, oh, it's 10 different guys.
Yeah. It kind of makes it easier for kids to question whether this figure is real at all.
And you need to have like a very standard look so that you just always know that that's just Santa, or it's a representation of the Santa who also looks like that. Yeah.
The platonic Santa. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So because there were like all of these discrepancies,
all these non-standardized Santas.
Not yet. Yeah. And because also there were so many poorly behaved men going into the field who were showing up drunk, smoking in front of kids and like cursing when, you know, they could be overheard by the children. Right. It was just overall threatening to the whimsy.
You don't want to threaten the whimsy.
You don't want to encroach on the whimsy. Luckily, one man decided to take up the mantle and whip those Santas into shape.
Oh my God.
So now we're going to meet a man named Charles W. Howard.
Okay.
Around the age of 7, the mother of a boy named Charles Howard sewed him a Santa suit because he was, quote, a short, fat boy.
Yay! He's just born to be Santa. He's like a Santa prodigy.
Yes, exactly. His mom also got him one of these terrifying old Santa masks that they used to have. Maybe you've seen them in old pictures.
I don't think so.
They called it a false face.
No.
And he wore it to make him look old, of course, because he was 7. But it scared the other kids so much that he was like, it's just better for me to ditch this false face.
Yeah, good idea.
So yeah, as you can kind of imagine, the false face was just kind of like those old Halloween masks that are kind of nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
False Face is a good band name, in my opinion.
Yeah, False Face is a great band name. But yeah, as I mentioned, it was scary to the children, so he got rid of it. Mm-hmm. Then he got to play Santa Claus in his 4th grade school play.
Yay.
And he loved it. He was Santa crazy at that age, and he kind of started to know, like, this is my path in life.
Wow. Which doesn't even occur to most kids because it seems like just a seasonal job.
Yeah, and it's also something that you think about doing when you're like 65.
Right. But that's why he's a visionary.
He's a visionary, and he really is. So he started to see that there were more and more department stores who had these Santa Clauses, and he knew, okay, I can actually do this. There's a reason that I love to be this way. So by the time he got into his late 20s is when he started to become angry at the subpar Santas and the subpar Santa experience that so many children were being subjected to.
God, is he single? Can I go back in time and date this angry young Santa?
I think that would be a really great match for you.
I just find it very attractive for someone to demand that we have better standards for our Santas.
Yeah. Santa standards, baby. He really wanted them to have that uniform look to protect the whimsy. So he decided in 1937 to open the Charles W. Howard Santa School and started taking applications.
Santa School! Oh my God.
Very cute.
Wow.
And at this point, Coca-Cola Santa has come into the picture. I think it's like early 1930s. So there is a consolidated image at this point. It just needs to be enacted on a massive scale. So he decided, it's up to me. More after this. And now, back to the show. So at this school, he planned on and eventually did teach child psychology.
Okay,
he taught about all the history of the Santa Claus legends and how to do Santa makeup. And he converted his barn into a schoolroom.
Nice.
So he's setting things up. He hired this man named Charles Newton, who was like an old school showman. So he was there to teach the art of showmanship to the Santas.
Nice.
He hired Ed Butters, who was an expert on reindeer.
What?
Yes.
Ed Butters?
Ed Butters came in.
He got Ed Butters?
He got the Ed Butters. And yeah, he taught all the Santas to work with living reindeer and how to interact with them and care for them.
I mean, if you're going to do it right, it is a very important job, you know?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, it is. So I would like to read to you, if I may, some of his rules about the correct way to be a Santa.
I would love nothing more.
So one of the things he said is never use a false face.
Yep, fair enough.
He learned that the hard way.
Yep.
But he was pretty like pedantic for sure. So this is an article from right around when the school opened. Okay. And it's titled, funny enough, "Surest way to flunk out in Santa Claus school is to suggest use of mask."
Perfect.
So obviously he carried this fact that he terrified children with a false face through his life. No one can hope to receive a diploma from the school in which Charles W. Howard trains people how to be Santa Claus if he wears whiskers made of cotton or wool, and the surest way to flunk out in the first semester is to suggest the use of a mask.
Wow.
After spending months testing materials and trying to get an idea of the average child's mental picture of Santa Claus, Howard has decided that a well-dressed Santa should wear 1. Trousers and coat of red chinchilla trimmed with genuine fur.
Oh.
I know. It's expensive.
It's a lot of chinchillas.
It's not, I don't like it. Under no circumstances use cheesecloth, flannel, or any material that would not be warm enough to withstand the rigors of the polar north.
God, I love that he's insisting on something that would be warm enough for the actual polar north. Also, of course, cheesecloth is for seances.
Of course, only for ectoplasm purposes.
Yeah.
Okay, 2, a red chinchilla cap with a white tassel. Chinchilla is preferred because it has depth and warmth.
Okay. Yeah, it's very soft. It's very, fur is murder, but that is a very soft one of the murder fabrics.
It's very soft murder. Okay. 3, black boots. Real boots and not the slip-on type. Which is true, because it looks stupid when you have those slip-on boots that you get like Spirit Halloween for a pirate costume.
Yeah.
4, a beard. It is most important that neither wool nor cotton shall be used because that makes you look like some puffed up animal.
Wow. Okay.
Again, Sarah, never use a mask. It is too gruesome and exaggerated. For the beard, only the best hair goods should be used, and it should be washed and curled at least once a week.
This is kind of what I've been saying, though. I feel like that as a kid, I didn't really like Santa, but if Santa was a role played with more dignity and pomp, then maybe I could, get with it.
I think that's completely fair. People are lazy, and we want people who really try.
Yeah, I really want a free range Santa. Grass finished.
Okay. 5. A red shirt and a carpenter's apron. When at work, Santa Claus should always take off his coat, hang it on a rack, and put on his apron.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because he's working.
He's working. Okay. Santa must be rotund. Howard teaches that Santa Claus need not be tall, but he must be rotund, even if he has to use pads. Generally, pads are frowned on, but on the other hand, a thin man may make a perfect Santa Claus personality, which according to Howard is what the business needs. Santa Claus may have a corn on his right foot, an impacted molar, and a case of incipient appendicitis, but he can never quit smiling.
Wow. And that's what we call emotional labor.
Yeah, yes, for sure. But that is only the start, Howard said, of developing a Santa Claus personality.
Okay.
The chief point is to surround yourself with an air of infallibility.
Wow.
The children must be made to believe that Santa Claus knows everything about them, how old they are, whether they have misbehaved, and when and how, what they got last Christmas, and whether they wash their ears, which was such a concern back then, I feel.
Right. I know. I feel like no one's worried about the status of their kids' ears, publicly anymore. Maybe we should spill some ink on that matter.
Do you think that they mean inside your ears or behind your ears?
I don't know, both. I mean, wash behind your ears was something I heard growing up.
I forget to wash behind my ears.
Yeah, I do
constantly.
too. I need someone to remind me.
Yeah.
It's a problem with adulthood.
All right. Quote, "You will find," Howard said, "that if you can call each child by name as it comes up in line," again, it, I feel like we called children it a lot more back then, "as it comes up in line, you will start off with a great advantage. This can be done," and this is like the way that fucking psychic mediums gather intel about their clients. "This can be done by having a secretary sitting outside the Santa Claus booth who gathers information from the children as they pass in. That information can be relayed either by a system of mirrors or through earphones."
Wow. All right. High tech.
Yeah. Earphones in the 1930s. Amazing.
A lot of these guys who worked for the OSS needed something else to do when the war ended,
Children are amazed when you tell them how many brothers and sisters they have and where they live. After that, it becomes an easy task to influence them in the right direction, to tell them to be sure and wash their ears, to take their cod liver oil, and to go to bed on time and obey their parents. Howard teaches that Santa Claus has many more responsibilities than taking orders for toys and delivering them on Christmas Eve. He believes that a suggestion from Santa is likely to remain in the child's mind throughout the year, and that there is a duty to be the sort of physician-psychologist to every boy and girl. That's not your duty.
I do like that it recognizes the power of the role, though. I like that it's taking Santa's deadly seriously.
Yeah, he does. He has special advice for children who look thin and undernourished. After he gets acquainted with them, he does not ask the conventional question, "Have you been a good boy this year?" Instead, he says, quote, "Santa Claus is going to bring you the things you want, but you must promise to eat more milk and cereal."
That cereal is really going to bulk you up. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, he's also pushing like Dr. Kellogg's
wheat
perfect diet.
Well, yeah, you want to get those kids, getting their share of saltpeter.
Absolutely. Parents tell him it works in almost every case.
Wow.
Tomorrow, how to handle the mothers and fathers who get tough with Santa Claus. I did not find that article, sadly.
God damn. I want to read that.
So, as you can see, he had a lot of rules for Santa Claus, but he also decided that he would admit people to play the role of Mrs. Claus.
Okay.
So even early on, he did take applications from women.
Mm-hmm.
He went on to play Santa in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Not the first, for almost 20 years between 1948 and 1965. And he was the official Santa consultant for the 1947 film Miracle on 34th Street.
Incredible. Which takes place at Macy's, even though they didn't invent department store Santa, as we've been discussing.
Yeah, that's what they think. But yeah, I mean, it's this man, he's, again, one of those invisible architects of American culture that I love to find out about.
It's fantastic. Like Robert Moses.
Who's Robert Moses?
He's the guy who ruined American cities.
Doing what?
I don't know. He invented freeways or something. Everyone our age
right.
has read that big book about him by the guy who then wrote the Big Johnson series that,
Okay.
he won't ever finish.
At the same time, and this is just like a fun fact, he created this enormously popular Christmas park on the same grounds as the school in 1956. So this was like a Potemkin Christmas village. Nice. It had 20 buildings, houses, schools, churches, all completely furnished and lit, which I imagine was kind of giving the train village vibe, that people set up for Christmas. My granny loved that.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a toy lane, which was a collection of 23 different themed window scenes, which I think we would have really liked. Yes. I think we both like a themed window scene.
Love a miniature.
Yeah. It also had a working train for the kids and a reindeer petting zoo.
I hope those reindeer were treated better than I imagine the odds are that they were.
Me too.
Yeah.
I like to hope that maybe because he valued Christmas so much that he would care for the creatures, but I do not know for sure.
I certainly hope so.
And you could also go to Mrs. Santa's kitchen where she would make fresh food for all of the visitors. So that was cute.
Nice. Yeah, it makes sense that, Santa's got a lot on his plate. He can't, he needs help with he needs a first lady type figure.
Yeah, he definitely does.
Mm-hmm.
And we will get more into that in our second episode.
Oh, good.
Then around the same time, we have this guy named Arthur, also known as Happy French.
Happy French.
Which was funny because he was known as a really grumpy guy.
Perfect. God, Happy French.
And he's working for a Seattle newspaper. And one day he looks out his window, sees a bunch of families lined up outside Frederick and Nelson's, and they're waiting in the cold to meet Santa. And he's like, God, I need money. So he ran down there and just started taking pictures of the kids with Santa.
And that's how American culture is made. Some guy says, God, I need money, and puts two and two together.
Yep.
Or often someone else says that, and then a guy takes credit for the idea.
Exactly. That's more American even. So yeah, he just went down there and charged $1 per photo. And in 5 weeks, he made the equivalent of $180,000. And he was like, I don't need to work for the newspaper anymore. I just need to work once a year doing these Santa Claus pictures.
Oh my God, it's Happy French.
He did. And it got kind of franchised out. And so very, very soon it was a staple at every department store because it was super brilliant.
And so we do it not because kids or families really need them, I would argue, but because Happy French needed money.
Happy French needed money. Now we get the entrance of perhaps my favorite character in the story, Max Factor Jr. Okay. Have you ever heard of Max Factor Jr.?
Well, I've heard of Max Factor mascara, but I always assumed that the name meant Max Factor, the maximum amount of factor.
I would have thought that. As well.
Like Max Headroom, whose full name is Maximum Headroom.
Yeah, exactly. So Max Factor Jr. was the working name of Frank Factor.
Okay.
Max Factor was a cooler name.
That's a less confusing name.
It's much less confusing. He was the son of, again, another Max Factor. So he didn't really come up with it. His dad came up with it, I guess. But his dad had created the really successful cosmetics business, Max Factor and Company. So your mascara.
Yeah. Maximum Factor.
Mm-hmm. So Max Factor Jr.'s claim to fame was that he invented pancake makeup.
Which I never have quite gotten a handle on, because for a long time I thought it was like, it's as thick as a pancake and it's an insult. But it turns out it's like a brand, or like, what's the situation, Chelsey?
Yeah. So he invented pancake makeup, which kind of came in like a tin, and then you put kind of like a big, like, whatever.
A big
My mom would be
puff?
horrified because she is a makeup artist. But it was, it just, what are they called? What are the foam thingies called?
Oh, you're asking the wrong person.
We don't wear makeup.
I know. We're helpless. We're like two guys right here.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. Like a big kind of sponge.
Yeah, a sponge.
You know, like put it in, pop it in there, and then it created like a very even, nice skin tone for specifically movies in Technicolor. So it was created to match the need of that color palette to make the face appear really perfect.
Yeah.
So that was his claim to fame.
All right, good for him.
Good for him. So in 1940, Max Factor Jr., who was a straight man, apparently, I have my questions, but he did say in a way that sounds really gay to me, quote, the worst man, I'm gonna do an offensive gay voice. Ready?
I'm ready.
The worst made up man in the world. He called Santa Claus the worst made up man in the world.
Wow. That is pretty gay.
Yeah, I'm gonna just play him that way. Sorry, Max Factor Jr. I'm not sorry. It's not a shameful thing.
It's not a bad thing to be. And that is, it's a good observation.
Okay, so Frank told the press, what the world needs is a uniform Santa Claus. And if one isn't forthcoming soon, every child in the land will lose his illusions. 1,001 misfit misconceptions are trotting the streets, standing in store windows and on corners all over the continent. How can parents blame small boys for kicking these phony Santas in the shins and uttering scoffing remarks?
It was really good.
So another man passionate about his anger that Santa Claus was not a standardized uniform creature.
I can kind of imagine this being like one of the surprising, strongly held opinions of John Waters, who has done a lot for Christmas culture.
I can absolutely see that.
Biggest thing, like, who can blame small boys for kicking these lousy Santas in the shins? That's kind of a John Waters thing to say.
So Frank also said, quote, I don't like to criticize a glorious charitable institution, but the fact remains that Salvation Army puts out scores of the most bedraggled, dejected-looking Santas to be found anywhere in the nation. It's like, you're being so bitchy. I was a Salvation Army bell ringer as a child. It's a fun fact.
Oh, yeah? How did that go?
It was great. I loved it. Oh, my God. I just got to perform for everyone, and they loved me because I was a child ringing the bell.
Well, there you go. That does sound pretty good.
My dad took me. Yeah. He liked to do it every year. I don't love Salvation Army, obviously.
But ringing a bell, A+.
I don't like that their motto is doing the most good.
Yeah, that is annoying.
That seems not like what Jesus would want you to say.
If I had an organization, it would be called Doing the Most Medium Good. Let's not get crazy over here.
Doing some good.
Doing a bit o' good.
Bit o' good.
It's mostly paperwork. You know how it is.
So these were his public statements on what his Santa rules were.
Okay.
So similar to Howard, but
I like how much we're getting into the Santa house rules.
It's important. So, okay. He should appear to be about 70 years old. The hair and makeup should resemble a man of that age. Santa should stand about 5'8" or taller and should weigh between 175 and 215 pounds, and the girth of his belly should be about 48 inches.
Santa should be able to weigh way more than that.
That's what I know. It's it's kind of different than I would expect.
He's kind of asking for the skinny Santa.
Wrinkles should be applied to the forehead and corners of the eyes. The hair and facial hair should be made of pure white yak hair.
No, you got to grow it yourself.
With a definite wave and curly ends, which is how Charles felt as well. Santa's beard, referred to as whiskers, should measure 16 inches from the tip of the chin and should, quote, cover the jowl but leave the cheek surfaces bare.
That's pretty long. I think I could handle 8 inches of beard personally.
I know.
6 to 8 would be fine.
16's too much. And it is. It's like kids are going to pull on that. They're going to yank.
Yeah, they got to see if it's real.
Yeah. And It's like not going to go well because it's yak hair. So he also said Santa's hairline should always be covered by his hat.
Okay.
Yep. He should get false white eyebrows or white crepe hair. I don't know what that means. As a last resort, one's own eyebrows can be covered with Vaseline and colored white with talcum powder.
I think a lot of men that age are just going to have eyebrows that are like that. It's interesting. He's not assuming that they're going to grow their own.
I know. As for Santa's makeup, Frank recommends a generous amount of foundation, which of course he would, because he's trying to sell that pancake makeup.
Yeah, I gotta say, he's selling makeup to the consumer base that cosmetics have yet to capture. Santas.
He's got him. He's got him. You would also follow that generous amount of foundation with a face powder with a slightly olive complexion.
Okay. Because Santa's from Spain.
Santa's from Spain, famously.
Or Turkey, or I guess he's from Turkey and he lives in Spain.
I don't remember.
Down the street from the Love Island villa. I don't know. Anyway.
The cheeks should be heavily rounded and accentuated by rouge, which should also be applied to the tip of the nose. Use dark red lipstick if the mouth is not visible through the beard.
Oh, okay. You can see a terrifying hole.
Yeah, it's scary.
Nothing like beard hole.
That is what I call a mouth. Okay. So those are his Santa rules. And I want to end this episode on something pretty interesting to me.
Okay.
Because when the United States officially joined World War II and the men were sent to fight, women were asked by the government, as we know, to take over the many jobs that were left behind by men.
Oh my God. Okay. Yes, go on.
And this eventually included Santa Claus. So I just want to read you
a Santa of their own.
Yep, a Santa of their own. We should name that episode that.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to read this little tiny thing.
Yeah, please, for
here
the love
to
of
give
God,
us a taste of what's
me.
to come next week.
Oh
so
God.
This says, "Woman Santa Claus defeated by Kitty." This is from Salt Lake City.
Oh no.
The Salt Lake City Telegram assigned reporter Mary Margaret Hills to dress like Santa Claus and see what the youngsters had to say. Her disguise, including a beard and carefully rehearsed deep voice, functioned nicely in a department store until a small boy piped, "You're not Santa Claus. Look at your hands." She had a new manicure.
Oh my God. You idiot.
So we're going to return for part 2 with our evolution of Santa becoming a woman.
I literally cannot wait. And also, I mean, I want to know if we told the kids that Santa was off fighting in the, European theater or anything like that. And this is so fun.
There were definitely a variety of explanations for this.
Oh my, I literally cannot wait. And also, let me make my plug for the Dick Van Dyke Show Christmas episode, which includes Rosemary singing a song that goes, "Santa, won't you bring me a man?" And also Rob and Laura Petrie doing a dance number as 2 Santas who meet and fall in love. 2 street corner Santas.
Well, check that out.
Yeah.
Wow. I love that. So yeah, we will pick back up with Max Factor Jr. helping these women to transform into the jolly men that children were expecting. And then we will also get into the way that Santa Claus, the mall Santa specifically, has been used in a variety of creative activism. Yeah.
I cannot wait.
It's going to be really fun.
I also can't wait to hear about all the Santas arriving at Wrigley Field and being separated into 4 teams and everything else.
Yes, exactly. So thank you, Sarah. This has been a real romp. Things are going to get a little more exciting in our next episode because we're passing into a more modern time, leaving this sleepy old Santa behind.
This has been pretty exciting. I'm going to be honest. Thank you, Chelsey. And thank you for being my favorite little elf.
Oh, thank you, Sarah. You're my favorite woman Santa Claus.
I would be a good, I'm very tall.
You'd be great.
Yeah, I weigh enough to be a Santa plus some change, according to Max Factor. I'm ready. I'm ready to fill those big boots.
Yeah, we'll put some pillows around inside your shirt there, and you'll be ready to rock. And I'll be your little elf that's off getting intel about all the children, so you know everything about them.
Right, because then you can just feed information to me, and then we don't have to wear any futuristic headphones.
Santa would never. This was American Hysteria. Make sure you come back next week for part 2 of our series on the Mall Santa. And of course, listen to You're Wrong About wherever you get your podcasts. And now, we have a couple of our dear patrons to shout out today, which we do for those at our $25 tier who are down with a modest mention on the show, along with anything they'd like to promote. Our first shout out goes to our frickin' $50 a month patron, Dustin Campbell, who's also very sweet and has been supporting us for a long time. We are so appreciative to you, our friend. Thank you, Dustin. Another passionate shout out goes to Phoebe, who writes for the Boolean Union, a site dedicated to the analysis, archiving, research, and critique of illustrated hate material, whether it be religious or otherwise. As part of their efforts, they engage in the extensive cataloging, research, and analysis of these materials, such as those of the eponymous Chick publications, which you'll remember from our series on Chick tracts. To that end, they also engage in critiques of such literature, often by way of dissections, which are an elegant hybrid of snark and information. So check out their site, www.booleanunion.com. That's BOOLEAN-union.com. And thanks to all the rest of our $25 patrons. If you would like to have your name mentioned in the show, just reach out on our messages on Patreon. And of course, thank you to the rest of our subscribers too. If any of the rest of you who are not yet subscribers would like to support our show at any monetary level, you can go to patreon.com/American Hysteria or subscribe on Apple Plus. At the $3 level and up, you'll get ad-free episodes as well as bonus content, including Hysteria Home Companion, a podcast that I do with our producer Miranda, where we tell you stories related to the topics we cover or stories that we know that you'll love. You'll also get access to a new ongoing series called Dispatches from the Field, in which I talk in an unedited stream of consciousness for an hour all by myself about some of the strangest experiences of my own life. So go to patreon.com/American Hysteria or subscribe on Apple Plus. If you go to AmericanHysteria.com, you can pick up some of our merch. All of the profits go to the Samir Project, a Palestinian-led mutual aid group who are on the ground in Gaza delivering food and supplies to displaced families. Also on AmericanHysteria.com, you can leave us a message on the Urban Legends hotline about a tale that you remember from growing up or one you've heard recently, and we might do an entire investigation about it. That's AmericanHysteria.com. Another great way to help us out, and this really does matter, is by leaving us a 5-star review on whatever app you use. You can do it right now. It's super easy, and we would really, really appreciate it for real. American Hysteria's producer and editor is Miranda Zickler. Our associate producer is Riley Swedelius Smith. This episode has additional editing by Kaylee Jasperson, and I'm your host, Chelsey Weber Smith. Thanks, as always, for listening, and I hope you have a great week.